Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1998's Knockoff.
As in, knock it off, Damien.
Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on X, gonna give it to you. You can follow me at Junior D's. You can follow Corey at Corey_idol. And if you want to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, X, whatever, you can follow us at Kiss the Reviews. And let's get into the cast, and we're gonna dive right in to this movie. So, the cast of Knockoff. This film stars Jean-Claude Van Damme as Marcus Ray, Rob Schneider as Tommy Hendricks, Lela Rochon as Karen Lee, and Paul Sorvino as Harry Johanson. This whole thing, from the names to the script to the shots they used to all of this stuff, was garbage from Jump Street.
Yeah, like, this makes me truly wonder how movies get through to this state where they're actually made into a movie. Because It's like, I've taken shits that were better than this. And I don't mean like ironically or trying to be facetious in any way, where it's just like, I took a shit. I'm literally taking a shit that was more entertaining than this movie was.
Well, I know I could speak from experience. Your shits have a better sound quality and matchup than the audio in this damn movie did. I get the fact that, sometimes in movies and scenes that are shot, boom isn't right, or something happens with the audio, a plane goes by, or just the audio just sounds like shit. There's a hum or something that you can't get rid of. So you have to have the actors come in and cut some things in the studio and overdub that scene or that sentence or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
This movie from front to back looked and sounded overdubbed.
Yeah, I thought my internet was fucked up for a minute.
I did too, and I rented this on Amazon.
Mm-hmm.
And literally from front to back, it was the whole thing was off.
Yeah.
And it literally, we talked about this a little bit before we started recording, it literally looked like they voiced this over in Chinese. Like, the original script was all written in Chinese. All the actors did their parts in Chinese, and then they overdubbed their own voices in English over the top of it.
Yes.
This was awful.
It was so bad. And it literally looked like they were saying one thing on a script, the audio got torched, and then they went into the audio room after in post and had a completely different script.
They had rewrites over what was already shot.
And by rewrites, we mean the entire script.
Oh my God, dude. So let's jump into this. And by the way, so IMDB descriptions, I'll read typically before we do it. This movie sounds so much better than what I just saw. But a fashion designer must join forces with a CIA agent to combat terrorism. That's the description of this movie. That sounds like an interesting movie that I would watch. What I saw was not this.
Does it? Because what that sounded like to me is almost like a 90s Basic Instinct, kind of that sexy noir movie that might come up. You know what I mean? Like a fish out of water. Like, I've witnessed something or I've seen something. And no. What we're talking about here is a karate-loving fashion designer.
He's not even a fashion designer. He sells knockoff clothing, and now he's trying. I tried to go legit. Cool, bro.
Who works with the CIA agent, Rob Schneider.
We work for the government. We're CIA.
To combat fucking illegal trafficking of knockoff jeans. We don't even really get to the whole Game of Thrones wildfire of it all until midway through the movie. It starts with wildfire, and you're like, oh shit, Peter Dinklage, where he at? And then he just doesn't show up. And neither does the wildfire again for like 90% of this movie.
Yep.
It's all
100%.
about forfeited genes. And not like DNA.
Yeah.
Because that would be, high stakes. But I mean like denim.
Well, let's jump into this, dude. So this this movie opens with scuba divers going after a submerged crate of knockoff dolls in Hong Kong. And the crate opens up and dolls come pouring out, but they're bombs. Oh no. And someone detonates them. And then there's a terrible police boat chase in the water. And then that's it.
And then
Like literally that, like it just, this movie is so segmented out. Like that's the opening, and then you get green flames here as the bombs go off and whatever. And then it's like cut to Hong Kong, 1997, which I don't understand why that's at the beginning either, because the beginning of this movie is Hong Kong in 1997. It's not like we flash forwarded 10 years. It's literally the same time frame. Corey's life lessons.
Hi, screenwriters. Uncle Corey here. I know a lot of us like to, use various elements or tools at our disposal to actually storyboard or draw out a plot line. And this is where characters come in, and this is where the turn comes, and this is where Act 2 is going to be set up because blah, blah, blah. Right? This is why we don't use Post-it notes. Because one of them bitches just flew away into the air conditioning, was picked up by the cleaning people, and never seen again. And you don't know what happened with the chase. The script at the final thing just read, police chase, cut to Hong Kong, next day.
Yes.
And we have to assume it's next day. We're never told. It's just a day shot after a nighttime shot. And so we have to assume it's been a day.
Yeah, it says Hong Kong 1997, which I just assumed that it was Hong Kong 97 before that. So cool, whatever. But we cut to Hong Kong 1997, and we see Tommy Hendricks, who is a fashion designer, and he owns V6 jeans with Marcus Ray. And Tommy's getting his girls ready for some fashion show of some sort. And we also see Marcus at a warehouse checking out his V6 jeans with some dudes that he knows in the knockoff game, including Skinny, who's fat. You see what they did there?
Again, when you say Rob Schneider is getting models ready for a fashion show, he's acting more like Donald Trump at the Miss America pageant. He just walks in and is like, quit eating shit, put down that Tic Tac, you're supposed to be skinny, be a model, you fat cow, I hate you.
Come on, people, work with me. You're models. Look bitchy. Look like you haven't eaten in a week.
You have him doing his shit. You got JCVD. He's off in the knockoff store because he's friends with all these like underground, gangsters who are in the knockoff game in Hong Kong or whatever. And cool. And then it cuts to a rickshaw race for no reason whatsoever.
Oh, the only reason Skinny wasn't going to break Jean-Claude's legs here was because he put big money on him in today's race. And it turns out today's race was a rickshaw race.
Which, this is never brought up again. It's a random rickshaw race. We don't literally see another rickshaw for the rest of this movie. Not even in the background shots.
Even the cops say you were running an illegal rickshaw race with no permit. So it's not like this is like a big event in whatever town or province this is in.
I didn't catch that. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, so it's just like you're running an underground rickshaw race for big money. And as a fashion designer selling knockoff denim, you're going to race now in this with your knockoff Puma shoes. Spelled with two M's.
Yeah, spelled with two M's. So Rob Schneider gives him his Puma sneakers that he can wear for the big illegal rickshaw race. Cool. So he gives him his sneakers, and JCVD's knockoff Pumas have a blowout, and he thinks his friend Eddie Wang gets kidnapped, but it's another dude who looks like Eddie because they swap out because Eddie's cheating in this rickshaw race. And then the car crashes, and then enter the cops during the gunfight. The bad guys get away. Tommy knocks out one of the cops with a soup can, and then the two get arrested. I got a lot of questions. But this whole thing with the shoes blowing out, okay? There's a lot of shots, and I don't know, I wrote it somewhere who directed this, but I really don't care to look it up. I don't know who directed this film, but there are so many interesting shots. One, when he first puts on the Pumas and you get the foot into the shoe shot. When the guns are shooting, you get like through the pit. It was like they watched that one Korn video following the bullet and went, hell yeah, I want to shoot the whole movie like this. Like everything is like, this is going into this, and the bullet's going through that, and a foot into the sneaker. Like all of these shots, especially down the barrel of the gun into the dude's face before he gets shot, they're so unnecessary. It was like, oh, was this kid in film school when he shot this? And he was like, dude, all of these shots are going to be epic.
Yeah, this movie was a knockoff of a McG movie.
Yes.
Like, that's what it really
Absolutely.
Like.
Absolutely.
And my favorite shot, since we're on it, my favorite shot of the movie is Worried Rob Schneider's close-up, which was like, he goes... And then it's just a freeze frame there of his stupid face.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, directors. Uncle Corey here. If you have Rob Schneider in your movie, or let's just say a Randy Quaid type face, and you decide their worried look looks really good, and you need to kill, I don't know, 5-10 seconds for some reason in your film, so you're going to do a close-up on their introspective moment, fucking don't. Do not do this. Because it looked bad, and I know he was wearing makeup, cheap makeup, but he was wearing makeup, and it did not cover up that skin.
Yeah.
Do not do this. And actors, if you have a fucked up face, like, let's say, Rob Schneider, don't let them do this to you. Take it. I'm assuming this is part of what the strike is about. Don't let them do this to you. Yes. No AI, Armando, no AI. Pay us fucking no for fair wages for your streaming bullshit, and goddamn no close-ups on people whose faces are like Rob Schneider's. That's all they're asking for.
I only wanted to do 2 of those things. I only want to underpay and use AI. So what's wrong with that? I'm cool. I'm on board with the whole, like, don't close up Rob Schneider's face. I'm fine with that. Unless you're doing like a QAnon documentary, and then you just close up that shit all day long.
All day. He's the big gun.
Yes. After this rickshaw race, they get arrested, and they're asked about this whole situation, and then they're just let go. And then they run into Karen Lee, the executive vice president of V6 Jeans, and she says that half of their last shipment to the US were knockoffs, and she's very upset. And then there's the whole, so we did this with one of the other JCVD movies where it was like, listen, no slapsticky stuff for JCVD. They do the whole tearing of the jeans where he falls down. He's got to get up like, hey, I'm still cool. No slapstick with JCVD. It's not a thing. Which tells me, now that I've seen it in a few movies of his, I think he's adding these moments in there on his own.
100%. He just was smart enough not to give himself a writing credit on this one.
Yes, which he does not. There is no writing credit for JCVD on this one.
And I didn't notice that so much as Lela Rochon's character. I don't know if you noticed this, but she tells them that they're planning a raid that night.
Yep.
On Skinny's warehouse or wherever the knockoffs are coming from. But they're planning a raid, and if they don't show up, she has no choice but to assume that they are fleeing her jurisdiction. Yeah. Hey, honey, come here real quick. You're a fucking executive for a gene company. Your jurisdiction does not exist.
You were right.
Yeah, here's the other thing too. When she stands up after talking to them, is she 7 feet tall? What the fuck is that shot about? Okay, listen, I know Rob Schneider, short jokes aside, I get it. He's not a tall guy.
Mm-hmm.
Neither is JCVD. But is she 7 feet tall? Because they literally look like 2 foot tall in this shot.
It's an absurd shot. It's terrible camera work.
It's so stupid.
Like, whoever directed this and was actually like cool with these camera shots or setting up these camera shots,
yeah,
would be like one of these YouTube guys that does like paranormal investigations, but it's like wah, their channel shut down after a week because everybody saw their buddy in the background doing like, oh, I'm a scary ghost.
Oh, that wasn't me. That was a spooky ghost.
We caught you, bro. We saw him changing in the shot.
There's a guy pulling all the strings like
Michael Jordan's on a choo-choo train just going around and around.
Marcus then here. Him and Tommy are talking, and then Tommy goes off to the bathroom, and Marcus finds him talking to some suits on the roof of the building that they're in, and he finds out that not only is he talking to CIA agents, he is also a CIA agent himself, and they've been using him to get the knockoff gang, and Marcus gets upset, and he storms off here, and he has his little, his JCVD, I'm alone moment, except they don't, I noticed this, there's none of that music, they just have this very, no lyric, just music backdrop to it, and but it's him being, pensive and whatever.
Yeah.
Question. He says, we've been using you for 4 years to catch these knockoff, but Eddie, the knockoff guy, and Skinny are literally in his presence every second of this film since it starts. It took you 4 years and you still haven't arrested these sloppy criminals? They're not the most well-hidden, hey, everything's so buttoned up and we don't know, we can't figure it out. You're literally in a rickshaw race with them. An illegal one at that.
Yeah. Here's what happened, kids. I guarantee you this is what happened. Because I've caught on to what JCVD does now. I'm on to his game. Okay. He got on set. And this was scripted for him to be the CIA agent and Rob Schneider to be the funny and bumbling fashion guy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like he's working with all the gangs and stuff. And JCVD got on set and said, the CIA man is not funny. I am funny. And he went up to Rob and said, hey buddy, I know you are funny. I am funny too. I will be the funny guy. And you can be CIA man, huh? You fight. Yeah, fight with me. We fight beside each other. And Rob Schneider's like, dude, whatever the fuck. Did you know that baby Jewish kids are launching rockets into outer space right now? To steal wooden crosses off of people's fucking lawn gnomes? Or whatever the latest conspiracy is. Like, he didn't give a shit. So they switched roles.
You lied to me!
And again, so this is the best part. So now the cops are involved, right? The CIA's involved, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you have Tommy and Marcus, who are involved with their executive vice president at V6 Jeans. And they all go together to this raid of Skinny's warehouse for knockoff jeans. JCVD goes to this rooftop. You have COVID Edward Snowden on the roof there. He's sitting there, but then he coughs and walks away, and you're like, oh, is this guy part of it? And then the whole thing explodes. This cargo truck comes barreling through, and then you get the whole thing with JCVD having a fight on the top of the truck while the cop has a fight on the inside of the truck. This whole scene is just a mishmash of things that they were like, you know, it'd be cool if we did this and this and this. They just put it all into one scene.
So I have a question for you, since you brought, because I totally forgot about COVID Edward Snowden. But am I crazy, or when he got introduced at the beginning of this movie, did he have a little name pop up under him that said Tickler?
I don't know.
I'm like 90% sure it did.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
His character was honestly my favorite throughout this whole movie, because his tactic was exactly what I did when bullies used to beat me up in school. Is I'd get hit once, fall to the ground, and fake an asthma attack, and they just felt bad for me and walked away. And I jumped up, went, ha-ha, and like threw shit at them, and then like had an asthma attack when they turned back around. It's a fucking great tactic, kids. I suggest
Good
it
job.
if you're built like a fucking Flat Stanley.
Flat Stanley. That's your new nickname.
What are you, a comedian?
By the way, I just looked it up since you loved his character so much. Michael Miller, who is the COVID Edward Snowden, his character was Tickler, so that has been verified.
Flat Stanley for the win, bitches.
After this, Marcus takes Tommy to see Eddie, where Marcus loses it on Eddie about the tiny bombs that they found at the warehouse raid and his involvement with Skinny. And when Eddie goes into his safe to show Marcus something, he gets blown through a wall and out into the street with another tiny bomb. And Marcus and Tommy are then chased out of the building after fighting off the machete-wielding gang. And they get away with a surveillance tape that Tommy finds here.
I would like to point out that the CIA agent is the one hiding in the security room.
Yeah.
While the fashion designer,
Yes.
who's a civilian,
Yes.
is wholesale kicking ass through this whole fucking gang of machete-wielding psychos.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, fashion designers or whoever is out there that, you know, maybe, I don't know, getting attacked by somebody wielding a machete, or
Machete. Even one of those.
or plenty of machetes. I don't know. Maybe you're living in Florida. That sounds like a Florida thing.
A plethora of machetes, if you will.
Yes. So you're getting chased with a machete by a bunch of people, and they all have them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Just run. At the end, JCVD does the right thing. You just run here. What you don't do is what he does here. He gets the chain and he wraps it on and he's blocking the machetes. You're surrounded by guys with machetes, all doing this. And they just get these like little cuts on their back. Like that, they're like, oh, ow, ooh, ah. No, that shit is like kunk right in your fucking head.
Yeah, this is like
That's
Guerrilla Death Squad time.
Yes.
These guys ain't fucking around with
They're
you.
both Listen, Rob Schneider couldn't fight his way out of a wet paper bag. He's getting decapitated in this scene.
You're right again.
If 1,000 Rob Schneiders stormed the Capitol on January 6th, nobody would give a shit.
After this, Marcus goes to see Skinny. And after beating up his security team, he abducts Skinny in a car, crashes through a window in the parking garage, and takes him to the CIA, where they watch the surveillance footage with Harry. And in this video, they see Karen Lee. Marcus leaves to get Tommy because he's with Karen. And when he leaves, the tiny bomb green flame thing blows up and the whole Buddha building comes crumbling down.
Isn't that the most American thing, to take a fucking Buddha monument in another country and just be like, yeah, this is our CIA headquarters. We're not going to shower for 3 weeks and shit and piss in here. Hope you don't mind, but if
That's
you do,
literally-
go fuck yourself.
That was the first thing I thought of when I saw that. They go to the Buddha and he like does the keypad in, and I'm
Right.
like, yep, that tracks.
That's
That's
like
about
China
right.
setting up surveillance in the Statue of Liberty. And then blowing it up and just being like, fuck it. Shit happens.
Shit happens.
And again, I'd like to point out the CIA agent is in trouble. So the fashion designer leaves to go save him.
You were right.
With zero help from anybody. And Paul Sorvino's like, yeah, I think you should totally do that. Marcus gets to Tommy as he's handcuffed by Karen. She's got a gun in his face. JCVD and Karen fight for a bit. And they find out here that Karen is actually CIA as well. And Tommy and Karen then get abducted by the Russians as Marcus changes and he finds one of the little tiny bombs on his little V6 knockoff jeans. And one of the cops shows up and he and Marcus go to rescue Tommy and Karen. Like, this whole thing got very 007 on us in a hurry. Okay? Like, everything was cool. Not really. Yeah, fucking settle down. You're a little too amped. Everything was okay as far as, like, the plot. Good guy, bad guy, this guy, that guy. And then we get here. And when they find the tiny bomb, and it was part of the Russian green flame project that they, whatever, that's cool as a little side story, fine. But now, like, the Russians are involved, and they're kidnapping, and Skinny's dead, and Eddie's dead, and now it's a Russian thing. And then they get to, like, the boat that they're on, and Harry, the CIA guy, is like, crisscross. Everybody's getting crossed up and crisscrossed. And I'm like, dude, can we stop? Not this many. I don't mind a double cross here and there. Fine. There's like 4 in this movie. And for this type of movie, it's not necessary.
No, it's a lot and it's nonsensical. And I mean, look, first off, Lela Rochon's like a triple agent.
Yes.
In this. And she works for the CIA.
But they don't know.
But nobody else on the CIA task force that's been there for 4 years knows that she's been with the CIA. It's just like everybody got in trouble. They're like, what do we do? I don't know. I'm CIA.
Well, and she goes, they pull her ID out of like her pants or whatever.
Yep.
And they're like, you're CIA? And she's like, check it out. And then they're like in the and they're like under the scanner, like, well, it checks out.
It says
somebody
like
wrote that
CIA approved.
Somebody wrote that scene. Well, they put it under the scanner, right? And then it comes back and it's like, eh.
Way to go. You're on my
Fuck
team.
Get out of here.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, guys, because this would only ever happen to guys. Uncle Corey here. If you look like Rob Schneider and someone that looks like Lela Rochon is taking care of your back and shoving her titties in your face, like nonstop shoving her titties in your face and whispering little cutesy things in your ear, she's trying to kill you or kidnap you or extract some sort of information. She does not like you. She does not want to fuck you.
100%. Play your position.
Hell yes.
Nobody willingly, I don't even think Rob Schneider's wife willingly puts her tits in his face.
No, do you know how much extra money they had to pay Lela Rochon just to do this scene?
Yes.
And she's not nude in it. We're just keep talking about her titties getting in her face. She's fully clothed.
Yes.
It's
with the shirt
cleavage. But
Yeah.
even getting that close to him and smelling his hair,
on.
come on.
So as Tommy and Karen are on the boat, they're tied up by the Russians or whatever. And Harry shows up. He kills the Russians, but he keeps the 2 tied up because he's part of the whole tiny bomb gang. JCVD here gets to the boat along with the cop as Tommy and Karen are about to get shot. JCVD jumps into action. All hell breaks loose with lots of knee and side sliding across the floor as they kill the tiny bomb gang.
I tell you what was the couple scenes I did really like was Jean-Claude Van Damme doing the spider to get away from the cargo things.
So he does that in the
was
cargo
cool.
thing. He does the one on the rickshaw. Like they're almost like Jackie Chan type moves. And I did get a very Jackie Chan kind of vibe to like some of these scenes, like those scenes with the cargo and
yeah, that's a great point.
So I did get that vibe throughout this, which actually made me feel, as much as I hated this movie, it made me feel better about it because I was like, okay, some of these action scenes, I think they understood the action piece. They just didn't understand anything else.
Yeah, because they didn't hire Jackie fucking Chan to do Jackie Chan shit.
Yes, exactly.
If you want to see somebody do the splits in slow-mo and do like a JCVD's your guy.
JCVD or Corey, because that was awesome.
Thank you.
Acting.
Brilliant! Let's go!
As the cargo vessel enters into restricted areas, they're threatened by like the military / cops that they're going to open fire on the vessel if it doesn't change course. And the cop finally gets into like the little cockpit or whatever they call it of the boat, and he turns the ship and they avoid getting blown out of the water. But there is then another terrible gunfight where Harry tries to escape. JCVD fights with COVID Edward Snowden, and then Snowden gets mashed by a cargo container, which that part was actually pretty cool. What I didn't
because it
like,
cut off his ventilator.
What I didn't like, again, when Lela and Tommy they're tied up and they're like, we're gonna take all these buttons from the button-fly jeans and they're tiny bombs, and we're gonna put them down your titties and make you eat them, or whatever the hell they're talking about. And then he's got like a little seltzer, like a mini seltzer bottle. He's like, I'm gonna squirt acid in your mouth. And then that is squirted on Paul Sorvino's arm. FYI, this is not how acid works. It's not gonna stop. Like, it eats his jacket and then we're done. And it's like, no, that's not how that works.
You were right.
This whole thing.
This isn't how torture works.
No.
Like, you like it in your mouth? You like it in your mouth? Like, dude, quit shoving a perfume bottle in her mouth in this oddly suggestive way, asking if she likes it.
No, that's how porn starts, not this. Not torture.
Yeah, it's fucking weird. It's like, hey, step bro. Oh, step sis, you like it in your mouth?
Dude, this is how 8mm started. Like, this is how torture starts.
It's so weird. And then it's just over. It's like, no more torture, which was to say there is no torture because nothing happens.
No, there really isn't. There is no torture in this. No. They just kind of threaten some things and then that's it. They run away.
Is it possible this story is true? Yes, it is.
Harry gets away again. Like, this guy, he gets away earlier from the bomb because he set the bomb and he was out of Buddha headquarters before it blew up. And now he gets away on another boat and he gets away from the acid that gets thrown on him. Cool. And he blows up the jeans on the other boat, and Karen throws some tiny bombs onto his boat, literally like at his feet. His whole boat blows up too as he detonates it, as Marcus and Tommy and the cop and Karen all get away on this like little boat.
You're forgetting one thing. They throw the bombs at Paul Sorvino's feet, and as he's exploding, he goes, "Wee-hee! Wee-hee!"
Listen, this whole, again, and I know we're like, oh, and then, crisscross, double cross here, blah, 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 whatever. cool story, bro. But at the end, like, Paul Sorvino is, I don't even know. He's like Jigsaw. It's like every time you think he's dead, it's like, no. Want to play a game? I'm back again. I'm on the boat now. I'm over here. I got away. This blew up. Look at me. Hey, hey. Lela Rochon takes out, her like little booby bombs or whatever from in her bra and throws them on the thing. Literally at him. As he's detonating the thing, she jumps off the boat. The whole thing goes up into, Green Lantern flames. Blows up.
Actually, the Green Lantern didn't have flames. His energy was derived from, I don't fucking know.
Cool story, bro. So that whole thing blows up, but then the final, and you think this is the end because all four of them get away. The cop, Lela, Rob Schneider, and JCVD. They all get away. But the end of this movie is 2 hours later. They literally wrote 2 hours later, and it's Harry putting a tiny bomb in a toy. Like he's in some basement again, and he's putting a tiny bomb in like a little dinosaur toy. And Tommy and Marcus are like having a drink, and they have one of the detonators, and they accidentally set off the bomb that Harry's working on. End of movie, and you just see like the bomb go off. Like, how does he survive the boat thing? And you literally, the writer wrote it just so they could have this final comedic ending.
And little bit like the scene they had to cut was Paul Sorvino walking home with no clothes on, just in his tidy whities, kind of fucking shuffling down the street trying to get home. His hair's all fucking fried and blown up. He's got green shit on him. It looked rough, so they just cut it.
You could have written 2 weeks later. You could have, you know what I mean? Like 2 hours later. You could have
not written anything. It was over.
You could have not written this movie.
You should have not written this movie.
Dude,
for God's sake.
This movie, we talk about bad movies here and there, and it seems like here lately, and I keep looking at my whiteboard filled with movies that we have to do. It seems like here lately we've done a few really bad ones. I think this one takes the cake from the audio issues to the script to the acting, which we never shit on acting, but I will shit on the acting all goddamn day in this movie. This movie, front to back, was a schmushmortion. Okay? That's how bad this...
It was a failed schmushmortion. Like, it should have been, and then somehow it still came out alive, and you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah, it was...
Like, it's got, like, half its head pulled up like this from when the vacuum started sucking and didn't get it all. It's like livers in its ear, because that's, like, where it got stuck.
Dude.
It's just it's a fucked up kid, man. It's not good.
No, this thing did not come out well. They should have put a bullet in its head before it even hit did this go into theaters? Like, I don't even remember this being in theaters. Or was this a straight to video kind of joint?
Dude, I don't know. This movie for me is what MGK is to rap music.
Is it possible this story is true?
This was one of those movies, in all honesty, like Howard the Duck, I was upset. Because Howard the Duck should never have been that bad. It had a budget. It was a big movie.
Yeah.
There was a lot of good people in it. Yeah. Right? This is not that. This was bad from the start. The people in the movie were well past their Hollywood prime.
Yeah.
Nobody was calling Rob Schneider. Nobody was calling JCVD. Lela Rochon was just kind of bouncing around from movie to movie, but really she was only in black films. So there was not a lot to do for any of these characters.
Yeah.
It just wasn't working. And I think this was right around the time Paul Sorvino kind of got pissy and left Hollywood. Well, not pissy, rightfully so pissed off and left Hollywood because of everything that was Weinstein about it. So I get why a lot of these guys would be in this film that was clearly made by its foreign director, foreign film. You cannot classify this as an American film.
No.
And so I had no expectations going into this. And not even like a I was open-minded. No, I knew it was going to be dog shit. I just didn't care. And the more dog shit it got, the funnier it was to me.
Yeah.
So I'm not upset about it. It's an absurd movie. More people will watch this review than will ever watch that movie.
Yes.
It's
so just FYI, I'm just going to throw this out there. Because I had to look it up. Again, we don't do research, but I did this is live, real time, me looking shit up. This was an estimated $30 million budget, and opening weekend in the US and Canada, it did $5.5 million. The fact that it did that much kills me.
Here's my
movie
challenge.
Was terrible.
Whoever produced this film, here's my challenge to you. Give me $30 million to turn one of my 3 books into a movie and watch what the fuck we make compared to this.
Hell yes.
But that's all I got, man. Do you got anything else for this one?
No.
All right.
No, one day, I can't do it on the first date, but I'm thinking maybe the 4th or 5th night, I might ask Lela, like, so what was up with you making this fucking movie? I'll get to the bottom of it. I mean, that's not the only reason I'm going to date Lela. We're wildly in love with each other. But, you know,
so I've
here
heard.
we are. We are. I mean, that's Hollywood's worst kept secret.
You were right.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, and this was 1998's Knockoff.